pretty common experience for me. Like, why do you have holes in your shoes? Why don't you have nice clothes? Coming back from Christmas, everybody had new clothes and I never had new clothes. And they talked about it's coming back from summer vacation, all the places they went. I would make stuff up because we didn't go on vacation. That wasn't our life. I mean, my mom worked all the time. She was a nurse. She worked doubles. And my stepdad is a highly intelligent man, but he had an alcohol problem. I described my parents as two beautiful broken souls that didn't know how to handle. They didn't have the coping skills to handle what the world threw at them, and as a result, we suffered as kids. We didn't have money. And we were always moving around. So, we didn't have a lot growing up. Christmas was never a big deal for me. It was a point of pain for me. It's like, we're going to be reminded of what we don't have. So that's why I say, I come from a place that there wasn't a lot of privilege. We didn't have a lot. And it's one thing when you're living in a community and you're surrounded by other people who don't have a lot, because then you're not aware of it. But for whatever reason, we always managed to live on the outskirts of nice areas of town, so that all the kids I went to came from means. They had the nice clothes. They had the shoes, the latest style. So I was very aware of what we didn't have, and which was another reason why I focused on my schoolwork and what I could control and what I could do. And as a result, like I said, couldn't go to college, didn't have a car, didn't have the resources, I couldn't figure it out for myself. So when I say, we didn't come from, a place of privilege, I wasn't born with it. At a conference at Dreamforce, we actually did an activity talking about, did you have this? Did you have this? And we added up who had privilege and who didn't. And I had the least amount. It was the year my film came out. It was right after my film came out. We were at an event and I had zero privilege. And the person with the highest privilege was Charlie Isaacs. And he'll admit, yes, I was born into privilege. And what's great about that, and what was interesting about the exercise is I noticed people got really uncomfortable when we did this exercise about privilege. People got uncomfortable. They didn't like it. And certain people had their certain amount of privilege.
What is this exercise about privilege?
So it's like they ask you, are your parents still together? Did you have a tutor growing up? Did you go to college? They asked different things. And for every answer that you had a yes, they gave you $100 in Monopoly money. So at the end of the exercise, you added up to see how much money you had.
That is fascinating.
Yes. And I was the only person with zero, goose egg. We had Pep Up Tech students in there that had more money than I had. The people that I'm helping skill up and bring into the Salesforce ecosystem had more privilege than I had. Charlie Isaacs, who was the CTO for Salesforce, had the most. And I took that opportunity at the time to say, I just want to speak up and say, I know y'all see that according to this exercise, I have zero privilege. That's what I was born with. That is not where I am at now. But I also want to highlight Charlie. Yes, he was born into, based on this exercise and the family he came from, he has the most amount of privilege. But the great thing about Charlie Isaacs, since 2016, he has reached out to me, and anything I've done, he's given me money to put on events. He said, how can I help you? Here's some money. You go put on an event. You don't have to worry about it. Donates to Pep Up Tech. He's given so much money to Pep Up Tech. He's donated to Marivis. He uses his privilege for good. And that's always resonated with me. And so I like to say the same thing. I feel like when people get uncomfortable with the word privilege, it's because they don't know how to use it. They see it as a bad thing. It's actually not a bad thing. Privilege is very powerful. That's why it exists. And if you're using your privilege to give back and you're sharing your privilege, then it's a good thing and you won't feel bad about it. I say that I work every day to have privilege, and that the day that I die, I want to leave this life with the same amount of privilege that I came into it with, which is zero. Because then that means I did my job to give back and make the world a better place. That is my goal.